Thank you.
You doing it live?
Do it live.
Doing it live.
We're doing it
And
live.
we are live, everybody, at the 2021 Wi-Fi Film Festival. Oh my gosh, it has been quite a morning getting all this set up, and I could not be happier to kick off the film festival with Francesca's wonderful panel here. She had the great idea of bringing together kind of the first group of students that came together and really laid the foundation for everything. So Francesca, take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm here, Francesca Kelley. I am the lead student director and director of public relations this year. And like Matt said, I wanted to hear from the people who helped pave the way for where I am now. So we'll start with the people on Zoom. If you could just go through and introduce yourselves and say what your title is, that'd be great. Ethan, since you're like right there on my Zoom, we'll start with you.
Like my title on the film that we started with, or my title at the festival?
The
Or
festival.
both. Okay, so at the festival, hi, I'm Ethan Jackson. At the festival, I was in charge of film acquisitions, and I was also a volunteer coordinator day of throughout the weekend for the first festival.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Blake Hopper. I was the founding student director and one of the founders of the inaugural Wi-Fi Film Festival. So I'm glad to be here with everybody. It's good to see some familiar faces.
And then Miss Avery.
I'm Avery Stratton. I was really just a participant and helping in any way I could, but I really can't take credit for starting it or doing anything like that. So.
Avery had an awesome movie, her project that we screened that was awesome, which I
Basically did something
one of our
that we wanted.
standout film project or student films.
Okay, and then we've also got two people here in the Washburn studio with me.
Hi, my name is Darria Dennison, and during the Wi-Fi Film Festival last time, I was one of the volunteer coordinators, and I also helped Alan Holzman around campus and led him around and took him around some places in Topeka.
Hi, I'm Annalee Lubeski. I was also a volunteer coordinator at the first Wi-Fi festival. I also was a photographer during the event. I kind of, same as what Avery said, I kind of was just helping in any way that I can. But I got some nice photos of the first event and just was kind of coverage of the whole thing.
Okay. Now that I know the owl is working properly. Okay.
You have to dance around a little bit with it. We use those in class too. So I should say, I guess, I'm Matthew Nyquist, assistant professor here at Washburn. I'm also the executive director of the Wi-Fi Film Festival. But the real stars of the show are the students, which is why we wanted to start off these panel with these folks. So Francesca, go ahead. Yeah, we've introed.
Okay, so Avery and Annalee, this first question is going to be more for you guys. What was it that brought you in wanting to volunteer and really get involved? Avery, if you want to start.
Sure. So I think being in Matt's class, like that whole class, because it was so small and because we were working on, lots of projects together, we all just got really close, and it was kind of just like a community thing that we wanted to help each other out. And Ethan and Blake and Matt were really passionate about this, and I just wanted to help out in any way that I could. So it kind of felt weird not to, I guess. So that's
Awesome. Annalee?
Yeah, very similar in fact, because we were all very closely working on projects together and we're in many of the same classes over the years even. It was just something that I kind of just naturally fell in line with, like something that appealed to me because, I was a film student in these classes, and so participating in the event just kind of felt like it would be like she said as well, kind of strange if I didn't end up doing it. And it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Ethan, what was it like, being the student, that was acquiring these films and everything? What was that like?
It was fun. So I guess I would kind of compare it to what I do for my day job. So for those that don't know, I work for a radio station. And so part of my job is like cold calling record labels and being like, hey, can I do an interview with this person? So it's kind of a similar process. So I did that kind of thing with, we showed a film from Shia LaBeouf. So I just emailed the production company and was like, hey, I like this movie. It would be really cool if we could show it. And they were gracious enough to they responded like the next day with literally everything we needed, poster, everything. And then the other one that I got that we played was the Oscar winner that year for short film, called Skin. And I'm super into A24. They're probably like my favorite studio out there. And they just do kind of some weird stuff. And they had acquired the film. So I emailed them and was like, hey, it'd be cool if we could show this. I gave them a list of films that I really liked of theirs. And like 2 or 3 weeks later, Matt and I were kind of going through the submissions, and he texted me and he's like, dude, did you see that A24 submitted a film? And I'm like, I know. So we went in and watched it and we were like, this is really cool. And then it was nominated for the Oscar. And so we all just kind of freaked out. But it was just kind of dumb luck. Some things went well and some I just didn't get emails back on. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. And that's one thing that Ethan's skilled at. But that movie we got, Skin, that first time was amazing. It ended up winning the Oscar for best narrative short. And it was a phenomenal film. We got to show it at the festival. And another thing that Ethan does, he interviews rock stars all the time, kind of what he was talking about, what he does at work. And one of the coolest things he ever did was my son's favorite band. He got the guitarist from that band to record a video for his first concert saying his name and everything and hope that he had a great time at the concert, and literally has made his decade. So very, very cool.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Ethan number one. Ethan and I are really good friends, and we've had the chance. Luckily, I've had the chance to work with him closely. We've been to a number of different concerts and even some shows and some all over the US. And he is so good at interviews. Like one of his favorite bands is Beartooth, and he was interviewing the lead singer, and he had really poignant, specific questions to the point where the lead singer came out and said, hey, those are some really great questions. Like, I'm really excited that you're into this, like really kind of not obscure, but like you have to be a fan and have to have done your research. So Ethan's very good at that stuff. And
Next question.
Oh, go ahead, Francesca. I'm sorry.
Do a follow-up question for Ethan. With everything that you did, you said it's kind of like what you do with your day job. Did being a part of Wi-Fi in that manner help prepare you for what you wanted to do with your day job?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
already like, I'm all gung-ho with this. This is what I'm going to do.
No, Wi-Fi definitely helped with that, because at the time I had just kind of recently started doing that kind of thing at the radio station. It was kind of they just given me permission like within the last year to start doing stuff. So I hadn't done a ton of that. But I'd been used to being told no for a year. So that was cool. And easy to get used to. So that was nice with the film festival. But no, I think that, I mean, we run big events for the radio station too, obviously without COVID. Like, we do a car show every year. And so working the festival, whether it was the pre-production for the festival or the festival itself, all of that experience definitely helped out, even at the radio station. It's been great.
That's awesome. It's exciting to hear, something you did as a student here at Washburn help prepare you for your future career. So that's awesome. Darria, I know you had mentioned that, Alan and everything. What experiences do you have that are a takeaway from that?
So it was a little bit before the festival that I had really gotten to connect with Alan over the phone. And so being able to actually meet him in person and have some really great conversations with him has led to, I've been doing little projects and little things, little script work pieces for him here and there over the past year. And so it's really been a great opportunity to network and to really connect with people. And so it's fostered relationships that I still have now.
That's awesome. Blake, I'm sure you've been wondering, when is she going to get to me?
No, you're fine.
But what was it like being, the student founder, like, the student founder with it and having that title? I mean, that title is still on Film Freeway. And so what is that like?
I mean, it was exciting. I think it's very exciting. It's exciting to see how it's grown. I mean, obviously we wish we could have it in person, but I think that will happen in the future. And I'm still excited that even through these kind of crazy times, we're able to put on something. It was great to work with Matt. It was great to work with Ethan and Darria and Avery. And really, when I went to Matt and said, hey, let's start a film festival. And he was like, well, I want to start a film festival. And so that's kind of how it snowballed from there. And I really loved watching all the films, seeing all the films from all over the world. Like, I remember just some awesome stuff. Skin, even just, there were a couple students. We had a high school. I remember one of the things I really wanted to do was have a high school section where high schoolers could submit films. And we had a couple of students from, I think it was Topeka High, that submitted a film. It was really, really cool. So films was, and then just kind of the planning side of my brain, got a lot of interaction, putting everything together. I helped a lot with the technical stuff. We were able the first year to use White Concert Hall, which is a huge venue at Washburn. We also were able to use, at the time, the new art gallery they had done, addition to the Mulvane. And so just being able to have 2 screens, I thought was really cool. So I'm excited to see where things go in the future.
Awesome. And I have to tell a little story really quick, just to kind of, is it okay if I interrupt with a story?
Yes.
Sure. Why not?
You know me, I'm a storyteller. I'm sorry. I'll let Francesca run this because she's doing a fantastic job. But I have to tell just a little brief story about what Blake was talking about when the festival began. So I'd been talking to Alan Holzman about doing a film. He suggested, Matt, you should really do a film festival at Washburn. It'd be a great thing to do for the school, for the community, for everything else. So, at first I was like, I don't have time for this. I've got so much to do just in, being a professor. But after a bit, I started to get excited about it. And literally at the exact moment that I started to get excited about it, Blake came in my office. He set a meeting up. He comes in and says, hey, so I want to start a film festival. And I think you brought the president of something in with you too, Jim Henry.
President of WSGA.
Yeah, you brought the president of.
You brought people from Washburn.
You brought the president of WSGA in with you too, which was so I knew you were serious, but the seeds of everything grew from that meeting, and I appreciate Blake's hitting the ground running with that. So
yeah, those WSGA presidents are not to be trifled with. They are all gung-ho and hold all the power. They're amazing at what they do. So yeah, I can bet that he thought, yeah. So you guys also have your own film, Seeing Scarlet, that you have entered and has won the Golden Bowtie? Golden Ichabod?
Ichabod.
Should be all of the above. And so, obviously it was pre-COVID that you guys, filmed that. Tell me what it was like working with each other and, seeing that being entered and winning such a prestigious award for it.
I think we should let Ethan go. He's the director. He's the head honcho.
Oh God. Okay. All right. I'll go. So working together was fun for the most part. I mean, obviously we're at a class and we're all close together. So there were, issues on any set, but like being able to make kind of our first, I'm describing every set ever. And so to be able to do that as our first kind of big project was cool to do that all together. And I don't know. The whole experience was fun. Blake and I actually had to pitch the project to the class, which was cool, and win them over. Blake is a really good producer. And so we had actually done a little bit of producing prior to the vote and had done some campaigning and kind of went around and had meetings with everyone in the class, and got them on board, and then, had the vote afterwards to ensure that our film was the one that got picked, to make sure that everybody
Am I a
liked
better
it.
producer or a better campaigner?
I think that if you went into politics, I would be both scared and I wouldn't trust you, but you would do a good
no,
job.
you shouldn't trust me.
But so that was kind of how it all started. And then, doing it all together, figuring out who was going to do what, who's editing the movie, who's shooting the movie, who's doing who's being the AD, all of that good stuff. Was just a huge learning experience. Like, even out of like any of the little arguments that we had or anything like that, like all of it was a learning experience. And I'm glad that it all went down that way, or else none of us would know how to approach something like that in the future with a better mindset or anything like that, so that's basically all I have to say. It was just a really good learning experience for the future, I guess.
I would
Yeah,
say
I want to agree. Oh, sorry, Avery, go ahead.
I would
Let
say-
Avery go.
there was nothing really like that project that we had experienced before in the film department. We were seniors, and so it's kind of crazy to think that we hadn't had any of that kind of experience before, but I'm so glad that we did, because there's just such a difference between learning it in a classroom and then actually being there and doing it. So that was, yeah.
I'm glad that it was helpful. You get a lot more of that now. We have another incredibly strong film professor that is does a great job with the classes, so they get a lot more of that before me now, which is wonderful.
That's awesome.
Blake, what were you gonna say?
Before Blake cuts in, do we want to not cut in, but you know what I mean? Do we want to hear from the lovely ladies in the studio with me, and then we can end on that strong campaign note? So, ladies, please take it away.
Seeing Scarlet was a really great experience. It very quickly became so much more than just a class project, like this was taking up entire weekends, like long hours, and it is something that I'm still very proud of. Like they were saying, every set has its ups and downs. There were definitely a few hiccups, a few things that got in our way, but no matter what, we found a way around it or through it or whatever we needed to do. And everybody on that film very much deserves the praise for it, because it was, we did a great job, if I do say so myself.
And for Seeing Scarlet, there's a few different things that I helped with that on that project, and really it's being able to know and step into these different roles and figure out what I need to learn. That was kind of the biggest takeaway for me. And I was stepping into doing sound for the first time and using Pro Tools for the first time. And so really it was like a doorway to a lot of different opportunities and experiences that I've kept with me since that point.
I forgot to mention one thing you reminded me. I did costuming and set design on Seeing Scarlet, and same with what Darria said. It's like I've continued to do set design and costumes on other projects, and so that really was the first time that I ever got to do that, especially on something of that scale. And so that is also something that I very much value. Very much value the experience and the opportunities that it's lended to me because of that.
By the way, I'm
Love
gonna
that.
cut in for a second because Annalee and Jancy did an amazing job with the costume and the set design. We had a bar scene that we had to shoot at the location twice, and they did an awesome job with the drinks and everything. And that was one thing that I was super impressed of when we did that. So it's been 3 years, but good job.
Nancy was the best. I couldn't have done it without her.
And Avery, real quick, what did you do with Seeing Scarlet, and what were your takeaways with that?
So I did the cinematography for about 40% of the film until Darria graciously stepped in when I was no longer able to do so, for other things that were going on. But yeah, again, just like working with classmates was a different experience that I hadn't had before. And it was really interesting, and learning how to communicate effectively, and some of those soft skills that you just can't get in the classroom were really beneficial.
That's awesome. Okay, Mr. Producer, I
Oh,
want to hear your side too.
I just want to say it was a great experience. And, you know, in the moment, maybe it was a little tough. It was actually a very tough project, one of the tougher projects I've ever worked on. So I would compare it to, like, when they say thesis film, it really is a thesis film. I would compare it to a thesis I've done for another major. So, but, you know, it was a great experience. And like everyone said, it was great to learn in person and do all that. But I just am happy that we have, like, this awesome final product to show that, you know, kind of lives out there and that you can go watch, and it's so well done, and that couldn't have been done without everyone's help. So
Awesome. And for those of you who don't know, Sing Scarlet, you know, like we said, is the Golden Ichabod winner, but it's also used as that first thought in that filmmaking 2 class that Matt teaches. It's one of the things that he's like, this is what we've done in the past, you know, let's see if we can get up to this standard. Let's see if we can, you know, go above and beyond that, which isn't possible. It's amazing. But, you know, being in that filmmaking 2 class this semester, it's cool to be able to talk with you guys about it. Matt, do you have any stories you want to add from Sing Scarlet?
Oh my gosh, I could have a lot of stories. The thing that I just like to say most about that, and you know, about other filmmaking 2 classes, is that class is modeled after a class at USC that is advanced production, and it's one of the most stressful, hard classes at SC. But it also comes out with you having experienced all the trials and turmoils that happen on real sets, because they just naturally happen. You know, the producers end up hating the director, the director ends up hating the producers, and everyone's, you know, frustrated, but then it all comes together and you make a movie. And the thing that was so amazing to me about that class is the way that, you know, I grew up in the state of Kansas, which is a wonderful state. I've returned here, but I heard a lot growing up from not my parents, but from other people. You know, people from Kansas don't make movies. We don't do that kind of stuff here. That's not a career. And one of the main things at Washburn, I think we can teach students is, yes, you can do that. And not only that, but you're in a semester, which doing pre-production, production, and post-production at a high level in a semester on that sort of project is ridiculous in terms of the speed. And the fact that, you know, we did it at USC and we did it at Washburn. And I just think it's so awesome that the students every single semester have taken up that challenge, and the groundwork was really laid by you guys. Because now every semester I can play Sing Scarlet and say, this is what the first group did. They had nothing to look at. They had nothing to you know, to believe this crazy kook from California, you know, should they listen to him or not? And this is what ended up happening. They, through their own skill set and their own passions and their own drive, were able to create something that I think is really great.
I have one more point to add too, that I think all of the credit goes to Matt, because I mean, like Darria, Annalee, Ethan, Blake, Bailey, Maddie, me, Jancy all did such an incredible job, but like it would not have been possible without Matt's direction and guidance and support and just graciousness. Like I remember being on a phone call with him, like on the verge of tears, because I was working a full-time job, and this was, like Annalee said, taking up weekends and time and going through family stuff and just lots of things. And I basically just was very overwhelmed, and he was gracious enough to say, like, I know this is a class and I know you have to do it, but let's make it work for you so that you don't burn out. And I had never had a professor do that before. And so, yeah, very grateful for Matt.
That was super helpful, like on set too. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to like us shooting at the bar. So we shot there. We had this shot set up. I can't remember, Avery, if you were running camera for this shoot. You and Darria each ran camera for one of the bar shoots.
Yeah.
And we had done 14 takes of one shot. And
I
oh my
remember
God,
this.
I was not having it. I was like, just pack everything up. We are going home. Like, this is done. We're 14 takes. And I'm mad Bailey's not here. She's at work right now, but she was like, hey, man, do you need like 5 minutes? And so I went outside with Bailey and Matt, and I didn't like yell at anything, but I wanted to, but like just took a couple breaths and then came back in. And then like, we literally got it on the next shot. We got what we needed and we moved on. So like, even when we were frustrated on set, he was really good at helping us figure out how to calm down and get through the issue and then just do it.
It's the old take 5. And I really appreciate all the praise that you guys are giving me. I think, it makes me want to cry and I really appreciate it. But I do want to really say that it's you guys. You are the ones that really put all the effort in and were able to do the movie. And, I really appreciate your work. But kind of back to Ethan's point, just about filmmaking in general, you're making a creative project and it is full of passion and it is full of everything about you. The best films are making yourself vulnerable and putting yourself on the screen, as a director, even if it's not exactly you, but you're putting yourself on the screen, you're opening those wounds, and that's what connects with the audience, because the audience has those wounds too, even in comedy. Ethan did it also, the cinematographer, Avery and Darria, you all did it. Annalee did it with the production design. Mm-hmm. And Blake was, producing is a hard gig, especially in a class, because you have a lot of responsibility. And in the real world, you have a lot more, let's say, firing ability or more boss type mentality. But in a class, you have the group you have, and you were blessed with a really great group. But the stress of being a producer in a class setting, even though you have partner, is something that I don't think can be. And everything is stressful, but it is just having to raise the money, having to get the locations, having to make sure everything's in place, dealing with all the emotions and personalities of everyone on set, trying to make sure that everything is going forward as planned. It's quite the task. So I always tell people I hit the jackpot, because that group of students that were in that class, we had a really good group of folks that fit those different roles.
I've enjoyed hearing those stories because I hear them outside of the panel too.
Yeah. Francesca was the producer in film, was one of the producers this semester as well, so she knows that stress too.
I do very deeply. Working together with Sing Scarlet, the Hollywood trip, and the putting on the first film festival at Washburn, you guys worked very closely together, spent lots of hours and time together. It's definitely a way to form a friendship of any sorts, Fellowship of the Rings type way. And just how was that? Because like I said, I have the privilege to hear these stories outside of the panel, but not everybody else does. So please do share those, Hollywood and Wi-Fi stories.
I'm going to start. I'm going to say Ethan and I made Avery, and she's not here, but Jancy and Darria.
Don't die, please.
And Annalee, but especially
choking
Ethan.
up.
Ethan, yeah, I'm choking up. No, Ethan and I we're pretty good friends before the movie. Yeah. And
not during.
We not during. We butted heads. We really did. We butted heads. We had
it's all Avery's fault.
No, it wasn't Avery's fault. We butted heads, and we didn't talk for 6 months afterwards. And it was 6 months, like it was half a year. And now we are just thick as thieves. He is one of my best friends, and I would call him a lifelong friend. And we're neighbors too, so that's pretty funny. So
I'm gonna cry.
yeah, well,
That was so sweet. That was so sweet.
but yeah, it was great. And I mean, even you want to talk about the Hollywood trip, there were some people that weren't involved in as closely in seeing Scarlett that went on the Hollywood trip, like Darren, and again, great guy. He helped with the movie a little bit. Who else went on the Hollywood trip that didn't help in the movie? I think he's really the only
Morgan
one.
went on the Hollywood trip, right?
Morgan Musgrave.
but
I wasn't
Morgan
there, so I'm
Musgrave,
just
yeah.
guessing.
Morgan's great.
She
Yeah, she did makeup.
and she produced the next year, and then Sophia Oswald, who was going to join,
Yeah.
but then had work obligations. Aaron, there was a few others too. That trip was quite the experience. I think Blake actually. Rachel, yes. I think Blake is the reason that Amoeba had to close down, because he bought all their stock.
Yeah.
I'll never forget going into looking at Blake at Amoeba, and he had a stack of stuff. It was awesome. It was great.
I had to put stuff back.
But the other great thing that y'all did was you started connecting with professionals like Ivy and different folks that brought in to talk to
Dane.
And Dane, the Hollywood, where we went to Warner Brothers, and Dane's an Academy Award winner, and he gave you all a behind the scenes tour of Warner Brothers. You got to see a movie being made. You got to go in the Foley room while they were making a movie. Dane, Francine and Dane, if you're watching, Francine's Dane's wife. If you're watching, thank you so much, for doing that, for giving us that ability to really see firsthand how movies are made at Warner Brothers.
I will say, and walking into a room and seeing an Oscar and a BAFTA sitting on someone's desk, you're kind of, this is a special person. And Dane is, I call these people next level people. I've had the opportunity to meet a few of these people that are just brilliant, have brilliant minds, and just are 100% into what they do and what they love, and just, it's amazing talking to these people. And I think Dane was totally one of those people, and it was an awesome experience to be able to meet with him and tour Warner Brothers, and really one of the highlights of the trip for me.
Yeah, working with him, because I worked with him beforehand, and I learned so much from him about sound, of course. I mean, he told you the cricket story, right? Where he followed a cricket around for 2 days to get the exact cricket sound. And I learned so much about sound, but I also learned so much from him about life and the industry and how to navigate the industry. And some of it, all of it, I try to pass on to you, the students. But just, because he's worked with everybody. I mean, he worked on The Matrix. He works with Joel Silver.
He did. I was looking at his IMDb before we went, and he did 8 Mile, and I really love 8 Mile. Just the movie, but he did the sound. So I was asking him about 8 Mile, and he was telling me about how they went in and recorded machinery at a factory in Detroit to have for the backing. I'm just like, the subtlety of going to record. I mean, you could record machinery anywhere, but going to Detroit in that area and recording machinery for the back, just to make the movie more real. And that, it was just, stuff like that is crazy.
It's all in the details.
So we're going to catch the ladies in the studio again to hear their experience.
Yeah.
What were your guys' experience with, the Hollywood trip, Wi-Fi, Sing Scarlet again?
So that was really the first time that I got to meet Ivy Press. And then when she came to Washburn, I think it was the next year, and she was there at the mass media banquet. I was able to actually sit down with her, and she read through one of my scripts. And I was really able to get feedback from her. And since then we've really kept in touch, and she'll pass on different things to me to submit my resume to. And so she's been a real great friend and connection for me for the past 3 years. So that's probably one of the biggest things that I recall from the Hollywood trip.
I did not go on the Hollywood trip that first year because I was busy with work and I was working on moving and stuff, so it just wasn't possible for me. But I know that my experience with working with these folks and then everybody else on Seeing Scarlet and on Wi-Fi, definitely it was great to be able to work with this same group over the course of many projects. And something that Matt taught us that I think a lot of us still very much try to hold on to is that, like, you know, connections are very important, and keeping connections with each other can really make a big difference in future projects, because then you have a group of people that it's like, oh, hey, I'm doing this thing. Are you interested in working on this with me? It's like, it's the connections that we've made are, I think, very valuable.
Okay, Ethan, Avery, if you guys have any other points that you want to add to that, I would go for it.
Yeah, I didn't go on the Hollywood trip, so nothing from me.
I wasn't on that trip either. But as far as like friendships and stuff, like, you know, in class, that was really cool to get so close to everybody. Like Blake said, we're literally neighbors now. And we didn't do it on purpose. It was an accident. I messaged him 3 weeks after he moved. And I was like, hey, I'm moving to this spot. And he's like, wait, I just moved in. And we literally happened to be the apartments right next to each other. So it was meant to be, buddy. Meant to be.
We're 10 in real life. We're 10 feet away from each other.
Yeah, he's like behind that wall. But so
Scary thought.
yes, it is. It is. But it's nice to, you know, come out with a really cool friendship like that. And then Bailey, who moved to LA, or she's about an hour east of LA. I still communicate with her. And Avery and I text every once in a while. It's not very often, but we talk every once in a while, and so that's always really nice. But she moved away too, which is stupid. So, you know, but it was fun to get so close to everybody.
Yeah, and you know, with Bailey and, you know, Sophia and Madeline, they all wanted to be here. Bailey's work schedule, Sophia's work schedule, like everybody's, it's Thursday morning, you know, we kind of have to understand that, and I'm thankful for all of you that are able to be here now. But they did want to be here, and, you know, we're all excited for everything you guys have done collectively. Past graduating, you know, how have you been able to keep involved with your Washburn roots, so to speak? And we'll start in the studio this time and then head over to Zoom.
Well, initially, I helped with Wi-Fi after I graduated. I graduated in December of 18 and believe Wi-Fi was in April of 19. And so that was a big way that I still connected with Washburn. And I also, I also had a degree in theater too. So in regards to that, I try to keep up with both the Washburn theater and mass media departments. And more so this semester than any, I've been trying to connect with a lot of the students now to find people to work on projects with and to just make stuff, because I've been wanting to make films for a while now, and with the way COVID has been the past year, it's been difficult.
So I graduated the December before COVID happened. So I really wasn't, since graduating, I've been extremely limited on the things that I've been able to do. And so I've been kind of trying to keep following, you know, what's been going on over in this department, like just online, various social media, but I haven't done a whole lot in regards to Washburn, but I have worked on some projects with some friends from KU, like we've all kind of come together to work on some things together. But something that I really would like to do is kind of like what Darria said as well, connect with some of the current students and maybe try to get work on a project at some point because it is what I love doing. And, you know, this past year or so has been kind of difficult to make that happen in a safe way and in a way where everybody is, you know, comfortable and where we can have access to the resources that we need. But it's kind of starting to come back to where something like that's going to be more and more possible. And I'm excited to see what we can come up with.
Okay, and then Avery, let's start with you on Zoom, just because I don't know what you've been doing with your Washburn Roots.
So I graduated that spring, and then I worked in Topeka for about another, it was either like 6 months or a year, and then I moved to Kansas City, and then eventually to Denver, which is where I am now. But when I was still working in Topeka, like Matt had me come and speak to one of his freshman classes, I think.
Yep, boot camp.
Yeah. So that's kind of been the extent of my involvement in Washburn since then, but definitely following everything on social media and keeping touch there. And if my mom sees stuff in the paper, she sends it to me. So.
Then Blake, your guys' turn.
You go first, Blake.
Lunches with Matt. I mean, I haven't done a lot. It's been kind of difficult because of crazy times. Haven't done a lot, to be frank, and maybe this is a good start, or jump start for us to get more involved.
I feel offended that you think not doing much for the filmmaking 2 class this semester is not doing much at all.
Oh, I guess I did. Francesca and I had a coffee and picked my brain about being a producer, so I guess I did do that.
We're 2,000.
Okay, and Ethan, what about you?
So I was involved with what was supposed to be the festival last year, and I was doing film acquisition again for that. We were actually supposed to have a really, really cool anniversary screening that never got to happen thanks to COVID, which was super disappointing. I don't want to tell people what it was because I don't want other people to get mad like I am. Okay, Matt's giving a little bit of a hint there. You know what? You should really go into voice acting and do soundtracks. It'd be great. Just with your voice. That's it. So I was working on that up until, the world shut down. And then I wouldn't say like directly with Washburn, but, Blake and then another student who graduated, he graduated the same semester I did, December of 19, Drew Dickus. We all we shoot film now. We've moved from digital to 35 millimeter film. And so we shoot it on film. We're talking about doing, a documentary, a couple of narrative things. So we're still trying to do stuff. And then eventually, once it's safe, we'll have people come in and, work on it together and all that good stuff. But yeah, we're staying active a little bit.
And for those of you who have not had the opportunity to see it yet, our video team has also, or is in the process of creating a short documentary about the student founders to go a little bit more in depth. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. It should be coming out to you guys soon. It's another way you all have stayed connected to your Washburn roots, by the way. So
It'll be on the stream. Check out the stream.
Okay.
I've got it. I'm looking at the file right now.
I know the video team is wanting to make it longer to really give you guys the platform you deserve for all you've done.
Huh.
So going back to Wi-Fi and everything that you've done, you guys have talked about growing together and everything, but really, what was your guys' favorite part about it? What was the thing that you are most proud of and just want to shout it to the world?
Seeing our films on the screen, on the big screen in White Concert Hall. That was probably the real stick out moment for me, is being able to see all of the work that we've done in each of the classes and the films that we submitted. and seeing it all up there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that being able to like sit in this auditorium full of people and watch something that we made was so cool. Like that's the dream in my case at least, and I think maybe for a lot of us, to be able to see something that you worked on the big screen. Something else that I really enjoyed was being able to, like I said, I took a lot of photos of the event, and I had a lot of fun doing that because I got to go and I got to see some of the films that were submitted, and just kind of capture what was going on in those moments, just by getting like B-roll shots essentially of the event. And I think that some of those photos that I took and that some other students took are used as like promotional images now for Wi-Fi, which I think is really cool because it just kind of shows how that event went the first time. And I'm really glad that I was able to be a part of it.
Okay, on Zoom, who would like to go first?
I would second all of that. And then also just, yeah, the community that we built, being with each other and all the meetings that we had at Classic Bean and all the cups of coffee that we drank together. I just love that kind of stuff. Just being together outside of class and like actually wanting to, not because it was an obligation, but yeah, just enjoying each other's company.
By the way, she didn't mention it earlier, but Avery also has writing credit on Seeing Scarlet because of one of those meetings at Classic Bean where we were all having coffee and trying to figure out how to make the script better. And she had some really cool stuff on the script. And so I wanted to mention that too. Make sure she got credit for that.
Thanks.
I'll definitely had the collaborative spirit down, working together, helping each other out, not overstepping, but a nice balance.
Like, what was your favorite part of the festival? Answer the question.
Oh, I'll have to admit that screen. I was the one that spec'd that bad boy and helping them set that up, and we played a couple movies on it before everyone else got to see it, and oh my gosh, that was pretty cool. So we turned the audio all the way up,
all the way
one afternoon.
Crank it.
So it was pretty cool to have that. So
I guess my favorite thing would be along the lines with everybody else, seeing the films for the first time on it. Actually, it wasn't the first time I'd seen Seeing Scarlet on a big screen. It was the second time, but it was cool to see it with everybody that made it. It had shown at a film festival in Kansas City just prior, in the same room that they had a couple of the people that were in the Harry Potter films like 2 hours beforehand. So that was really cool to see it with friends and with everyone that made it, and hear people react to it, whether it was a laugh or a clap or a sigh or whatever. It was just cool to hear that with the audience. But honestly, I think that my favorite part was just like getting it done, the festival in and of itself, because I'm not gonna lie, like it was hard. Like it was a difficult 3 days. I mean, I probably spent that week between with everything close to 60 hours maybe that week on the festival, and getting everything prepped and then actually doing the festival. Blake spent a lot of time there. Annalee spent a lot of time there. Darria spent a lot of time there. Like we were doing everything from going to get Alan coffee to making sure that we could actually get the winner of the bow tie prize on the screen, and Dr. Farley could actually hear what she was saying on Zoom. Like, it was kind of a pain. It was a learning experience, but through all of that, it was really fun. And I felt really good afterwards, after we, it was finished, because we'd accomplished so much and made it through with not like any major issues, but we made it through all the speed bumps,
No, I get that. Matt, anything you want to put in before my next question?
You're on mute.
You are muted, sir.
Like class. Right? No, with that you're actually viewers at home, and I'm thrilled to see we have quite a few viewers actually. So wonderful. Welcome to the festival. We're going to have stuff for 3 days that you're going to love. But really, that's that thing with Yasmin Mystery, who's this wonderful filmmaker, and we wanted to get her on the screen to accept the award. And just like everything else, it worked perfectly during testing, and then it decided not to work
Yeah.
when we were doing it for real. So it was like running back and forth between the machine room, trying to keep the audience, not because we had a full room, full house, full theater, trying to keep them in the room. I think, and just Dr. Farley was there, and it was very stressful. But that's kind of the thing with film in general, is that it's a stressful thing, and it has to be an invigorating type of stress. You have to be able to be, film is, of course, it's the skill set, but as my rest in peace, Norm Holland, one of my favorite professors at SC, used to say, if you just have the skills as an editor or whatever, you'll be the best editor no one's ever heard of. Because besides having the skill set and everything, now social media and being active on social media is a part of that skill set, and getting work and following what's going on in the industry and all that stuff. So, but it's that invigorating type of stress that inspires you to do great things, that you have to balance out with, self-care and not pushing yourself too far.
I love that.
I have one more thing to add.
Yeah, go ahead, Annalee.
In addition to like everything that everybody has said, another really cool thing about the first Wi-Fi was how many submissions of films that there were. I don't remember the exact number. I was more involved with the festival during it rather than the sort of like setup of it.
Just below 2,000.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that. It was kind of like this was a crazy thing that we were that was an amazing turnout for the inaugural year of this festival, and that was another thing that stands out to me as being just, I guess it's not a moment in particular or a part in particular, but it's definitely something that I remember being very impressed by, because everybody worked very hard to make sure that this reached a lot of people, and it paid off.
Okay, so, you guys have been saying that you've been following on social media and everything. What has been one thing that you might have wished we would have done this year for the festival, or something that you've been really impressed by that we're doing for the festival, aside from, doing it all online, because we kind of have to be doing that. So what is something that, you wish we would have done or you're impressed by?
I'm personally excited for the Women Filmmakers panel. I'm really, really excited for that. I'm definitely tuning in for as much of the festival as I can, but specifically that panel. Because just as a filmmaker who is female, seeing people who have gone through a lot of the struggles and have found ways to make it through is inspiring. And so to see more of their stories is important.
And that panel is hosted by a Washburn alum, Sue Vickery, on Saturday. Make sure you tune in for that, because that will be exciting. Okay. And really looks like you're ready to talk.
That really is exactly what I was going to say. That is the thing that I'm definitely looking forward to. So really just to echo everything that she said, I'm going to try to tune in for as much as possible, because that's a really cool thing. And again, something that I can very much relate to. And just something that I think a lot of young women who want to get into film will find inspiration in it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Anything that is empowering in that way it's going to be awesome.
I'm going to piggyback off that as the third woman on this panel. That's very exciting. So
love it. Okay.
I would say that I'm most excited for probably the Soul screening on Saturday night. I know that might be weird, but like I think it's cool to have to be able to have a community event this year, even though most of the festival is online, to have people be able to come out and watch a film. And especially something like this movie, which was released in such a weird way by Disney, throughout the year with the pandemic. It's cool to give people an opportunity to go out and see it this way. And I think that my only, if I had anything that I would like to see next year, it would be, I would love if we could do a midnight screening of The Room with spoons provided and Tommy Wiseau actually being here. That would be awesome. I'm down with that. I'll email him tomorrow. It'll be great.
I knew that Tommy Wiseau would be mentioned at some point by Ethan on this panel. Shameless plug though. Seriously, everybody, we are showing Soul at Jaeger Stadium at 7:30 on the 24th. I hope to see you all there. This is our really our only public in-person event. So come to Jaeger Stadium. We've got a lot of seats there, and we'd love to see you. So excited, and you'll probably see some of these alums there as well.
Bring blankets. It's going to be a little chilly.
At first, I thought you said bring Blake. It's gonna be.
I can't. You know what? I texted Blake yesterday and asked him if I could bring him, and he said no. So that's where we're at right now. We were friends yesterday. So
this is how it was. This is how it was during the shoot. One day you guys love each other and you're swapping last names, and then the next day it's like, I can't believe what he did.
I forgot about that. I totally forgot that we named characters in the movie after each other and swapped last names. That was great.
First and last time that has ever happened.
Yep.
In a class of mine. But good for you guys.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see the panels. That's one thing I don't think we really did that much of the first year. And it's one thing I love about film festivals is panels and hearing. So I think that would be fun to see in the future. Maybe get some directors come and talk about their movies. I know it's hard, but maybe some more feature length stuff. I know that's always kind of difficult. And I'm excited for this year. All the panels seem to be really interesting. Women filmmakers is really cool. The Jaeger Stadium with seeing Soul, that's going to be really awesome. And I know how much work it goes into doing live streaming. I've done a lot of live streaming, and I just think this is awesome that 3 days of this is happening, because it is, on a technical side, kind of background, it is not easy to do. So props to Matt for doing that, putting that together. I know he's put in a lot of long nights, early mornings, and a lot of hard work.
Well, it has been a lot of long nights and early mornings. I do have to also give credit to the logistics team. Ren Eads and Jaron Merritt did a lot of research, and the whole logistics team, I'm sure, did a lot of research into the streaming. This week, my schedule's been about going to bed about 2 a.m. and waking up about 8. Although this morning I got up at 4, just because I want to make sure everything is perfect. Since you mentioned the panels, Blake, I'd like to go ahead and mention the panels we have coming up today. So we have, right after this at 12:30, we have our first documentary short screening, which is going to be awesome. We've got some really great docs. This is 2 years of submissions, by the way, since we weren't able to do last year. So this is the best of the best out of 2 years. Sam Finch and the Wi-Fi Council did an amazing job of selecting there's some Wi-Fi Council folks right in front of you right now. Did a great job with selections this year. After that, we'll have our first narrative films. This will be international narrative shorts. And again, some ridiculously fabulous shorts this time, which you won't know the award winners until 24th at 5:30. But there's one film that seems like everyone is giving the award to this year, or at least nominating. At 2:45, you'll get to see the best of the best Washburn student and alum films. There's some really good stuff there as well. At 4:10, we're showing our one feature besides Soul, Stateless, which is a really cool doc. And at 5 p.m., we have another panel. Dr. Andrew Anglin, who's in our wonderful mass media department, does advertising, is doing one called Have a Laugh, Walt Disney's Kansas City Legacy. And this is the one that's catching everyone's eye. Whenever I talk to people, this is the one people ask about. So, if you make sure you check that one out. And then we'll end the day with some documentary shorts. And then tomorrow, we've got, in terms of workshops, I'm doing a directing workshop at 11:30. Dr. Carrie Wynn and myself are doing a historical documentary filmmaking one at 1:45. at 4 to 5 p.m., DGA award-winning director. You want some directors? Here's a director. DGA award-winning director, also Downtown Los Angeles Film Festival's Best New Director, Ashley Maria, whose film is available to stream right now. Don't stop watching this, though. Well, maybe do. Maybe do. But on wi-fifilmfestival.com, Pioneers and Skirts, you can watch it throughout the entire festival from now until 10 p.m. on the 24th. She will be giving a live Q&A tomorrow at 4 p.m. Make sure you join in on that because she wants it to be interactive. And then at 5 p.m. after that, we have Un-American, the Hays Code, the Blacklist, Censorship, and Representation with Liz Darrington, which is going to be also fantastic. Check out the descriptions for these on our website. And then tomorrow we have Emmy Award-winning editor Kara Myers giving an editing workshop. And then after that, we have Sam Finch, who teaches screenwriting here, giving a screenwriting workshop. These are all free. Okay, so you're getting a free screenwriting class tomorrow, free all this stuff. 2 to 4 p.m. is the women's panel, which is a whole bunch of great award-winning women, moderated by Sue Vickery, which Francesca mentioned before. At 4, we've got Cult Films with Andy Farkas, who's in English. That should be awesome as well. 5:30, we'll be doing the awards, which are the best of Wi-Fi, and then leading up into Seoul, we'll finish the rest of the doc shorts.
Real quick, just to go back with the cult films, that is not recommended for children with just some of the content.
Yes, that is what I understand is that it might not be the best one for kids. But it's going to be awesome. So if you're over, if you're not a kid, check it out. Yeah, I'm excited to see that one. No, God, you and Wiseau.
Okay, hold on. I want to give a quick shout out.
It was like this in class, too. It was always the room.
Because it's great. I want to give a quick shout out to the Wi-Fi Film Festival social media team. They have already tweeted about my room suggestion and tagged me and Tommy Wiseau in it. So coming to Wi-Fi Film Festival next year. Sounds like
Ethan, you are such an acquisition expert. Why don't we work on this?
Oh, we're going to. It's going to happen.
So give props to the social media team. There'll be some credits that'll run here after every film block. You'll get to see all the names in the class. But Dr. England proposed at the beginning of the semester that his class run the social media, and they have done one heck of a job.
Yes, they're doing awesome.
The entire time has just been amazing. I'm so thankful that he took that challenge on because it is. I think that's why we're having so many viewers right now, is because they've done such a good job promoting the festival, listening and doing a great job in terms of professional relations between our team and their team. And he also gave a lecture to my class on advertising, and which our class really liked and really ran with doing sponsorships and things like that. So props out to him. I already gave props to Sam and the great Wi-Fi council. I got to give props to Dr. Englund as well. I'll be giving a lot of props because this is an event that is a collaborative event that would not happen without all of these people.
Dr. Englund has also held a workshop for WFA, which is the Washburn Filmmakers Association. It was recorded, and if you're interested in seeing Matt, please contact Matt, and we'll get that figured out. But it was great. It was, really, he went really in depth of everything.
It was wonderful.
But back to the panel, back to you guys. I'm excited, Ethan, that your comment about the room has already been tweeted out. But really, I guess I just want to know what you hope to see. I know I asked you guys, what you want in the future, but I want to know what you guys hope to see more for Wi-Fi. We've got a class this year which has taken a lot of the stress off others, but I want to know what you guys hope to see for the future. Whether it's the room being shown, more directors here, or whatever it may be.
I think my biggest thing is more community involvement. Obviously, this year it's hard with COVID to do that. And the first year, I think that we did a really good job with it being the first year of getting the community involved, and that was awesome. But doing more things with Arts Connect down in Noto and with those folks, and really getting the entire Topeka arts community involved, because for those that don't know, like there is a huge arts community here in town. Whether you're into film or you're into abstract art or theater or music, whatever the case may be, there's a lot of creators here in town, and I think collaborating with them would be awesome. And I guess I would say would hope to see more of my stuff. Blake, we need to start working on a film so that we could have some more stuff at Wi-Fi in the future. But
Yes. Where are your films? I'm upset.
in pre-production.
Arts Connect, by the way, we're doing an invite only thing tonight for people that are involved with the festival, and Arts Connect is awesome. Again, a shout out to Sarah Frizzell there. They've been absolutely great, and I look forward to collaborating with them very much.
I would say what Ethan said too, like there's so many film professionals in Topeka that you could, I mean, Topeka filmmakers could be a panel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's something we could definitely do.
I think I agree, and that's exactly what I was going to say, is what community involvement and grow the festival. I'd like to see it grow and become kind of this is a cool little Kansas, festival that's kind of on the map of, it doesn't have to be huge, but, something that we do every year that brings a lot of enjoyment to everybody and kind of shows people filmmaking.
That's the goal. Hopefully we get there.
Almost. We're almost there. I promise. Ladies, how about you guys?
I mean, really, once again, everybody else has really touched on all the points that I was going to bring up as well. So I absolutely agree with everything that's been said. I said earlier, like, we did reach we got quite a few submissions from all over the world the first year. And it would be cool to, just reach an even bigger audience, and especially like in the community. Again, like Dave said, just kind of make it like a staple thing that happens every year when it can be in person, especially. And I don't remember who mentioned this, but somebody mentioned something about having more of like the filmmakers actually being attended. That would be really cool, because I was also at that screening of Seeing Starlit in Kansas City. And the coolest things about that to me was being able to, after all the films were shown, just getting to recognize and hear from all of the creators. It wasn't all like directors. I mean, most of the time the directors were there, but sometimes there were writers and designers. I think maybe even some actors from some of those films were there. But that was just a really cool thing to see, and to be able to do that with more of the submissions that we get with for Wi-Fi would be really cool, because that's such an awesome thing to see somebody's film and then hear them talk about it, and something that I would love to see more of when possible.
I would probably say, like, along with the community, expanding it to more of the community. I can't remember if it was actually in talks to happen, but I think it would be really cool, just with the historical aspects of the Jayhawk Theater, to screen some films at the Jayhawk Theater. And I know that I think they're working on like renovating it or kind of working to build it back up. But I think kind of while also like bringing in all of these people from all over the world, like with their films, also kind of tying it into some of the local history and kind of rooting it here. So I think that's in regards to the community aspect. I definitely agree with that.
Sorry, my laptop's sort of dying, and Anna, our amazing video director, is plugging it in, and it's just like slowly moving towards the extension cord. So, just mini heart attacks, but
Hey, I'm glad we got to have Anna on screen. That's great.
She gave us a thumbs up. But those are all great suggestions, and like really what we're wanting to try to implement and do well. And so, having this be recorded, we can take it and, brainstorm later, and that way next year's class is able to really give their 1000%. Anything you would like to add, Matt?
I mean, the goal of the festival itself is to bridge the gap between school amateur student filmmakers to professional filmmakers by bringing in professional filmmakers to interact with the community as well as the students to show their films alongside professional films and introduce them, to that professional industry and not just doing films for fun, but doing them for a professional career, whether they're doing it here or they're doing it, in one of the big cities on the coasts. But going forward, I think more speakers that we've done. The films have all been really great. It'd be fun to do some more features, as Blake said, but really more community engagement. I really like all the stuff that we're doing with Arts Connect, that we're doing with the Topeka Library has promoted us. We've had some really great community engagement, and Washburn itself has also been exceedingly supportive. He'll even have Dr. Farley even made a little video for us you'll be seeing on Saturday. So that was really awesome. So thank you, Dr. Farley, for that. But really is growing it. Every year we should get better. Every year we should have better films. Our speakers should continue to have more and the workshops and everything. So just every year be an uphill trajectory. And one thing I should say really quick, having this year for the first time ever, we have a Wi-Fi class, which Francesca was the lead student director in the class. And that's where, we did, we planned a lot of, we did, Wi-Fi beyond and the council was also very instrumental. And it was extremely helpful to do that. And Dr. Stover, who, again, this festival would definitely not happen without her, because when I pitched her this crazy idea way back when, she was super supportive of it and was like, let's do it. Let's figure out how we're going to do it. And she did everything she can and still does everything she can to make sure that this thing goes off and that it's great for the students. And it was her idea to do the class, and I'm really thankful that I get to do this as a class because it has made this year much, much better in terms of planning and getting things off, even with COVID and all that's added to it. And then I'm starting to imagine even the great things we could do next year now that we have so much more dedicated time.
And with 8 minutes left, I real quick wanted to thank our sponsors. We've got 6 amazing sponsors with Herman's Meat and B&B Theaters, Big Phil's Auto Plaza, Reliant Apparel, and Wayfilm KC. Wayfilm KC is the Women in Media Film Kansas City. And so I just wanted to give a quick shout out to those amazing sponsors.
Hy-Vee.
And Hy-Vee, thank you.
Hy-Vee and B&B Theaters as well.
Yeah.
I have a printed list, so I make sure to thank them because they and we also Topeka Public Library has been wonderful and is promoting us. And also Humanities Kansas has provided us with a grant, which is providing us, speakers and wonderful things. The sponsors, your moderator, your host here, raised over $1,000 for Wi-Fi this semester with her group, which is absolutely amazing to me, that she was able to do that during COVID when it's really hard to get money from anyone. That she was able to go out there with, and run her team and get that much money. I mean, a lot of the reason Wi-Fi is so great now and going to be in the future is because of that. So great job setting a high mark for your successor, Francesca.
It shouldn't be too hard to go over that, but I'm going to end this panel exactly how I shouldn't, by asking you all to, give some of your final thoughts, final statements. Just because you guys have so much to share and give, current students, alumni, and future students. And so I really, I feel like I keep repeating myself with these questions, but I really I want to hear your thoughts. I want to, know how you feel and how excited you are. especially since, you know, this was our opening segment for the whole festival this year.
I would probably say, like, take advantage of every opportunity that you can, and really try to connect with the people that you work with. Ultimately, those connections are going to last far beyond your classes, and you're going to come back to those, and you can do great things with the people that you know. And so just really constantly be creating and building upon what you've learned.
Another very important thing that I learned throughout my time at Washburn working on the festival and on seeing Starlight and everything is that limits force creativity. And so you're going to be limited in some of your projects. There are going to be some things that you're not really going to be able to accomplish exactly how you envisioned, but those are the moments when you really can be the most creative and you can figure out the solution. And so, and also what Darria said about connections, hold on to those good connections that you're going to make, and just always be looking out for opportunities and chances to be involved and to create things and do what you love.
I would say just don't be afraid to ask. There's really no consequence to asking and being told no, because in this industry I think you have to get used to being told no, so it's good practice. And also, like, if it goes for anything like fundraising, if you want to start a film festival, if you want to do anything, really it just starts by asking. So, and people are going to want to help you if you're passionate about it. They can sense your passion, and people usually, especially in Speak Up, people usually want to help you out.
You'll be surprised, for sure.
Yeah.
Ethan.
Oh, you want me to go? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm still thinking about what I'm going to say.
Yeah. As far as, like,
Better produce it.
I was too. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like ordering at a restaurant, and the waiter's gonna come down to the last two people, and neither of us know what we want. I would just say, like, as far as the film festival goes this weekend, just enjoy all of it. Get an opportunity to take some time out and watch a variety of panels or films. You know, there's films from a lot of different countries, and filmmaking is done differently, and it's done about different things in different places. And having the opportunity to experience other cultures through film is something really cool, and that I enjoy quite a bit. And piggybacking off of what Avery said, you know, just don't let one person telling you no be like the end of it. You know, you're going to get told no all the time. But, you know, you just need one yes out of however many no's to get the ball rolling on whatever you're working on, whether it's a festival or a film or trying to get Tommy Wiseau to come and show the room.
Coming for you, Tommy.
Yeah, right. Maybe he's watching right now. Probably not. But I forgot the last thing I was going to say. Thanks, Matt.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. The last thing I was going to say, always be authentic in, like, whatever you're doing. That's something that we talk about quite a bit at the radio station, being on air and things like that. You know, make sure that don't sacrifice who you are for whatever it is you're working on. I would say just be you.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with what everybody says. You know, again, don't be afraid of those no's. The other thing is, if you have a project and you're thinking about doing it, and I don't follow this myself, I really should. I know Ethan's brought this up a number of times. Go out there and do it. I mean, there's no producibility is one thing, but there's no reason not to write the script or shoot. I mean, you can shoot. Honestly, probably when we started, you can't shoot a movie on a phone, but I think now you can. And so, you know, stuff is cheap. Go find that funding and, you know, put together a 5-minute little teaser of what you want to do and use that to pitch. You know, there's always something to be made and do. And especially nowadays with the internet, there's so many people and so many outlets to view stuff. So I think that's kind of one thing I want to share, and take advantage of the film festival. I think there's some awesome panels and definitely some stuff I'll be watching, and really take that to heart and learn some new stuff and some new way to think about things. And like Ethan said it, and I love foreign films, and I think this is a great way to see some, get a new outlook on different things, kind of open that box up and explore a little bit.
Awesome. And that is our student founders panel, you guys. That is the kickoff for this whole amazing event. I really want to thank you all, for joining over Zoom, for coming in person. This has really helped make my day easier, and I'm excited for everything going on. So if you have any closing statements, Matt, please make them. Otherwise, I think we're good.
Well, thank you very much for watching the festival. I'm going to go ahead and cut it here so we can get into some of the content that's going to come to you. But at 12:30, we'll be doing our documentaries, so make sure you check those out. Thank you very much to Ethan, Avery, Blake, Darria, Annalee, and Francesca for moderating the thing and coming back. This has been wonderful, and I enjoyed your conversation. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
and enjoy the show.
Guys.
We will be, the stream might cut out briefly, but you'll be seeing stuff almost right away after.